Welcome to Oxford News This Week. I'm Elgin Nichols.
And I'm Terry Stiles. And in this week's local news, vehicles are being broken into, but where's the thief? And elections are over in the village of Oxford, and they have a changed council.
And stay tuned and learn more about these stories and others. The Oxford News begins right now. Among other stolen items, Oakland County Police captured a man suspected of stealing a shotgun, money, and a power saw from local vehicles. He was taken to the Oakland County Jail where he was posted bond and he awaits arraignment.
A 37-year-old Oxford woman was found dead from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Deputies were called to her home by a co-worker. Upon first investigation, officers are satisfied the woman caused her own death.
A routine traffic stop by sheriff's deputies brought about the arrest of a woman wanted on 3 separate arrest warrants in Genesee County. The woman was placed under arrest and transported to the custody of the Genesee Township Police.
A criminal investigation is underway after an Oxford business owner discovered his manager embezzled nearly $30,000 from his business account. The business owner discovered the filtering after business checks bounced for non-sufficient funds. The investigation is ongoing.
And be on the lookout for vandals taking the light out of life. An Oxford Estate Road resident discovered that all the solar lights lining his driveway had been smashed. While the homeowner did not see the vandals, police are hot on the trail of the smashers. If you see any unusual activity around your home, call Oakland County Sheriff's Office immediately.
It is confirmed the Oxford Village Council has a 5th and final elected council member. At the close of the election day, voters were unsure of who the 5th council member would be due to a technicality in write-in versus term choice. The matter was deferred to the village attorney Bob Davis, who determined it was Tom Keenis, the qualifying candidate, to take the 5th council seat. Sorry, it's Kennis. Kennis, the owner of a local international private manufacturing company, was appointed to a 2-year seat after receiving the most write-in votes among the candidates.
And last week, to celebrate Veterans Day, 35 XGIs visited Leonard Elementary School to share their stories with 5th graders. The armed services were represented by all branches who served in World War II, the Korean conflict, and the Vietnam conflict. In this picture, Vietnam veteran Jack Speck from Ohio uses a world globe to show his grandson, 5th grader Sebastian Speck, all the places he traveled while serving in the U.S. Army in the late 1960s. Well, Terry, what shall we talk about today?
That's a way to make it real for his grandson, isn't it?
It is.
Well, first of all, if you out there are hearing this pounding and banging going on behind us, we're hearing it too. It's not us. We're 2 doors away from a gym, and they're very enthusiastic on Fridays. So we try to keep that noise down, but it also keeps us going. And another thing I want to talk about, I still feel really bad about the ridership out in Addison Township.
Yeah.
And I know I sent out a challenge to that community to maybe try to step up and get people rides in that community, because there's a good handful of people. But we found out who the precinct was.
Yeah, Precinct 3, which is the southeastern part of the township of Addison.
Yeah, I think
For whatever reason.
if I'm not mistaken, that precinct has a bigger density of ridership than the rest of that entire community. So shame on them.
Well, you know, Terry, they only lost by 41 votes, from my understanding. So that's not very many. The only thing I could probably think here is that the residents thought, well, the economy in Michigan is still tight and they're still struggling to cut costs and expenses. And maybe they just thought, well, you know, rather than renew this, which is a renewal rather than a new millage, they decided that they would cut the expenses. Unfortunately, you know, to the detriment of those people that rely on the service. And what's interesting further is that it's an embarrassment, I think, to some degree, to Bruce Pearson, who was a township supervisor, you know, for Addison Township, and he's the chairman of the NODA.
Right.
Group.
What a shame.
So,
he's going to have to be removed from that group. I still want to shake my bossy finger because a big portion of that particular precinct does not even pay taxes,
Wow.
property taxes. So shame on them. It wasn't going to cost them a thing. So
How does one not
shame
do
on
that?
me.
That's what I'm curious about.
Rentals.
Oh, rentals?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and if there's a property owner that does not live in that community and they do have rentals, they can't vote in that community. So the people that are in those rentals have the responsibility to the community that they live in to get out there and vote. 41 people did not. And that just really is upsetting to me.
And talk about responsibility. I think, this community has a great deal of responsibility, and they're called veterans. And those
you
guys,
bet.
I'll tell you,
Yeah.
they go all out,
Yeah.
for the community. They are a camaraderie which is second to none, in this
Yeah.
area.
I agree.
I salute them, on Veterans Day.
I do too, and I really do. I really appreciate who they are, and I'm done complaining.
Well, Terry?
So that's it for Oxford News this week. If you'd like to learn more about these stories and others, stop by your local store and pick up a copy of the Leader newspaper, or you can watch us on OCTV. This is OCTV, where your news is closer to home.
And coming up next on Oxford Local Sports with Andy Curtis, Oxford School News with John Ochins, and join us with Auto Talk and Science in the News with Dave Kenny.
I'm Terry Stiles, and this is Oxford News This Week, where your news is closer to home.
And I'm Elgin Nichols. Remember, always be kind to your friends and neighbors, and thanks for watching.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication Automotive News. In our first story, Mazda Motor Corporation will offer unlimited mileage warranty to consumers who buy or lease a vehicle in Canada beginning with the 2015 model year, the automaker said November 13th. Regardless of the distance driven, the basic warranty covers all defective parts for 3 years, power components for 5 years, body sheet metal perforation for 7 years, and roadside assistance for 3 years. Wow. Mazda said the only category that still is limited to just over 79,000 miles is an 8-year emission defect warranty. Mazda's unlimited mileage warranty is a continuing trend in the industry, said Dennis DeRocher, an analyst at DeRocher Automotive Consultants. The companies can only extend these warranties if there is an expectation that they won't be used. Offering an unlimited mileage warranty is also an effective marketing tactic, DeRocher said. Wow. And at Ram has released pricing and fuel economy ratings for the 2015 ProMaster City commercial vans scheduled to arrive in the United States early next year. The cargo version will start at $24,125 and the 5-seat wagon version will start at $25,125. Prices include shipping. The ProMaster City, built in Turkey and based on the Fiat Doblo, will compete with the Ford Transit Connect and Nissan NV200. U.S. sales are to begin in the first quarter of 2015. The small van, powered by a 2.4-liter inline 4 engine and a 9-speed automatic transmission, is rated at 21 miles per gallon city, 29 highway, and 24 combined. Not bad. Instead of an inexpensive leaf springs, it has coil-link rear suspension to improve driving dynamics. Like the larger Fiat Ducato-based ProMaster, the ProMaster City's headlights and taillights set high above to avoid damage. Large wraparound front and rear bumpers are intended to absorb low-speed bumps with minimal damage. The van's rear doors open to a 60-40 split to ease loading and unloading. The interior comes in black or gray with cloth seats. The shifter is mounted on the center stack below the radio and climate controls. An available Uconnect entertainment system features a 5-inch screen, satellite radio and navigation, as well as Bluetooth connectivity and a backup camera. Designers added a large flat bin atop the center stack and a recessed shelf above the glove box. In its cargo area, the ProMaster City has 48.4 inches of room between its wheel wells, allowing space for pallets or 4-foot sheets of plywood. Above the wheel wells, width increases to more than 60 inches. The cargo area has nearly vertical walls and about 52 inches of interior height to accommodate storage racks. There is more than 7 feet of room between the rear doors and the back of the front seats in the cargo version. Ram says the ProMaster City has cargo capacity of 131 cubic feet as measured under an SAE international standard. Payload capacity is 1,883 pounds and the floor has 6 resets tie-down clips to secure loads. Nice truck. And at Ford Ford Motor Company launched production of its first volume aluminum body vehicle November 11th, the 2015 F-150 pickup, and CEO Mark Field said dealers should be fully stocked with F-150s sometime in the second quarter. Ford took 10 weeks this fall to install new equipment, including 500 robots in its Dearborn, Michigan truck plant. The new F-150 requires different assembly techniques from its predecessor, including riveting, adhesive bonding, and laser welds. The industry has been watching as Ford undertook its bold experiment with aluminum customers. Aluminum customers have been watching too, and the first stock F-150s will arrive in showrooms in December and retail orders will arrive in February. Once the Dearborn plant is building trucks at full speed, Ford will transform its assembly plant in Clacamo, Missouri in January to the same aluminum assembly process. And at Chrysler, Chrysler Group will begin replacing potentially defective airbag inflators made by Takata Corporation in more than 371,000 U.S. vehicles in early December, according to documents filed with the automaker with U.S. safety regulators. The Chrysler vehicles from model years 2003 to 2007 are among the estimated 4.2 million involved in a series of regional recalls in high humidity regions announced in June by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. The Chrysler vehicles include the Dodge Ram, Durango, Dakota, Charger, and Magnum, and Chrysler Aspen and 300. Quite a list. Well, that's all for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and as always, may the wind be at your back as you cruise down life's highways. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television, and we'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Lauren Sugden, and I'm a senior attending Rochester College. If you're a mass communication student studying the video arts like I am, come and intern at OCTV. Why, you may ask? Because OCTV not only offers the best hands-on training with experienced professionals in the field, but interns get the opportunity to relearn past skills or gain new knowledge, and especially to work with such a warm and welcoming team. So, if you or someone you know are interested in a great interning experience, give us a call at 248-628-9658 or send an email to manager@occtv.org to find out more.
I'm John Ochins, and welcome to the Oxford Wildcats School Update. After 2 community forums about the International Student Complex, Oxford Superintendent William Skilling has concluded that these could be a good thing. In addition to the forum scheduled November 13th, more are coming up every other month next year. With one scheduled for January 20th, they'll be at 6:30 p.m. at the Administration Building on North Washington. DECA stands for Distributive Education Clubs of America. It's an international association of high school and college students and teachers. The focus is on marketing, finance, hospitality, management, and other business areas. Jacqueline Borg, Jessica Fallis, and Elizabeth Yeomans are in the public relations area of this and talk about a project they've been involved with.
Well, we chose distracted driving for our public relations, and it reaches out to the community, and we did a assembly to reach the school because we witnessed distracted driving firsthand because it's common in teenagers, and it's become a leading cause in death within teenagers. So we're trying to cause awareness through the students in the school so they can also get involved with it.
I got to tell you, it's common in more than just teenagers.
Yeah, it's common in everyone. But
with the prominence of electronic media and whatnot. Yeah.
Yeah, even for one of our experiments we did with our project, we stood at the exit of the parking lot after school one day, and we took a tally on how many of all the cars that were leaving and how many were distracted, and over half of them were distracted, and it wasn't just the teenagers, it was the parents as well.
Were you surprised?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean,
it kind of yes, because it's kind of sad to believe that it was true, but it was what we were expecting.
11 students from Bachillerato Cinco de Mayo, a high school near Mexico City, joined some of our high school kids last week. They spent a few days enjoying the surroundings and experiencing our customs. I asked teacher Sergio Garcia what he thought of their favorite part of this was.
I think they have enjoyed a lot staying with their host families. I mean, I think, well, when I talk to them, most of the things they say it's about the activities they do with their families. Maybe before they came to Oxford, maybe they have different ideas or thoughts, or the culture is different. So they are always talking about, oh, they make different things here, or maybe some similar things here, and that's what I think. That's the most amazing thing for them, that they can share with these students and compare maybe the differences and the things that are the same here and there.
Jidyani Soriano was one of our visitors. She told us what she liked most.
I think the most funny thing we've done is going trick-or-treating. Yeah.
There are plans for some of our kids to visit them in Mexico next summer. A salute to veterans was the theme throughout Oxford schools this week. It was no exception at Oxford Elementary, where Principal Jeff Brown and his kids rolled out the red carpet to fifth graders' veteran relatives. Some of the visitors showed over 2 generations of military service. The day started with breakfast in the media center. Later, they adjourned to the kids' classrooms, where they had a chance to ask questions about their relatives' military service.
The German army had taken over almost all of Europe, except Great Britain. They had declared war on us. They sunk our ships. They took the lives of many of the Americans. And I guess I wanted to keep America like I remembered it.
And then a special treat from the Peggy Mueller Super Singers. There you go. Thank you, vets. And that's the Oxford Wildcat School News for this week. This is Oxford Community Television, keeping it local. Yes, sir.
You're watching Oxford Community Television, serving Addison and Oxford Townships, keeping it local.
Hello once again, Wildcat fans, and welcome to yet another week of your Oxford Wildcat Sports Update. Well, Oxford's fertile athletic tradition has produced yet another couple of college athletes, with Cheryl Banas and Jessica Murphy signing basketball scholarships this past week. Banas, who has a 5'6" junior, All-OAA selection and All-Oakland County honorable mention, helped lead the Wildcats to a third-place finish in the OAA White Division and is signing with the Lawrence Tech Blue Devils and head coach Mary Panoski. Murphy, on the other hand, the 5'11" shooting guard, is signing with the 17th-ranked Wayne State University Warriors, this following averaging 17.6 and 6.2 rebounds per game and being named All-OAA and All-County second team. So big congratulations, ladies, and I'm sure you will continue to make Oxford proud as you continue on your college careers. Now, the Wildcats should still be a force to reckon with this season and open in Rochester on December 2nd against the Adams Highlanders. Sticking with college basketball, our two Big Ten teams started their seasons this weekend with U of M beating Hillsdale 92-68 on Saturday. Derek Walton had 22 points, Zach Irving had 21, and Karis LeVert also put up 21 points to make this the first time since 2011 that two Wolverines scored 20 points in the same game. Now the Blue Bellies will play Bucknell Monday at 8 o'clock at the Chrysler Center. Up the road, Michigan State had their first game beating Navy Friday night 64-59 in the Veterans Classic. It was an overall sloppy night for the Spartans, but Travis Trice had a career evening, scoring 25, 5 assists, and 5 rebounds to lead the green and white to a win. Brandon Dawson and Denzel Valentine both struggled a little bit, only putting up 12 and 5 points respectively, leading Coach Izzo to scratch his head about a starting senior, saying Brandon has his moments on highlight film and his moments on low-light film. And I am assuming the low-light film was from Friday night. The Spartans will have a chance to turn things around here quickly as they test themselves against the number 4 ranked Duke Blue Devils this Tuesday. Now, our Spartans continued their winning ways on the East Coast, beating Maryland in the Big Ten's last night game of the football season, 37-15. And hey, the defense looks like it made it back after taking the day off against Ohio State last weekend, allowing only 6 rushing yards this Saturday and holding the Terrapins 2 for 13 on third downs and causing, that's right, 4 turnovers. Now, even though their dreams of a Big Ten championship and national title playoff berth have been smashed, the team can still salvage the season by winning their last 2 remaining games and hopefully beating an SEC team in a bowl game. MSU's next game is home against B1G newcomer Rutgers this upcoming Saturday. Now, U of M had a bye week last Saturday and will host Maryland this Saturday at the Big House. And now for the big game of the weekend between the 8-1 Arizona Cardinals and our 7-2 powerhouse Detroit Lions. Well, this game went very similar to our last 4 games that the Leos have played, with one small difference. There was no miracle comeback this time, as the Detroiters fell 6-14 in the desert and continued their 8-game losing streak at the University of Phoenix Stadium. The Lions came out on the wrong end of a few questionable calls, but the offense once again came out very short, with Stafford only going 18 for 30 for 183 yards and threw 1 interception. And Detroit also walked away with 0 sacks on former Lion and MSU quarterback Drew Stanton. Now let's see if they can stop this small losing skid when they take on the Patriots this upcoming Sunday. Now for our sports vocabulary word of the day, and it's a hockey one, so pay attention. The crease. Now in hockey, the crease is a 4 feet by 8 foot long area directly in front of the goaltender. This area is marked with red lines and the interior is painted blue and is off limits to all offensive players who do not possess the puck. So the more you know. Now remember, I am Andy Curtis, and you can catch all of our broadcasts of your favorite Oxford High School games between 1 and 6 right here on OCTV, or check us out online under the program section of OCCTV.org. And remember, please remember, you can follow us now on Twitter at OCTV Sports. There you can follow us as we broadcast from your favorite Oxford High School sporting events and some just hilarious quips from me throughout the day. Also, too, remember, this is your community station, so if you have sports ideas, shoot me an email at andrewcurtis23@gmail.com and put OCTV Sports in the subject line. That was, as always, all the sports news you need to know. Thanks for watching and have a great day.
Congratulations, OCTV, as the 2014 winner of the American Legion's Best Electronic Media Award, symbolizing your efforts to provide meaningful coverage of veterans issues and patriotic activities, as well as the American Legion.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from the publication New Scientist. In space, the European Space Agency's Philae lander has performed not 1, not 2, but 3 historic landings. That's according to data downloaded from the spacecraft that confirms Philae bounced twice as it settled down into the comet 67P Churyumov-Gerasimenko. ESA has released Philae's first photo from the surface. Readings from the probe suggests Philae initially touched down at 3:33 p.m. GMT on November 12th, with mission managers at the European Space Operations Center in Darmstadt, Germany, receiving the confirmation signal on Earth around a half hour later. But data from the probe's magnetometer shows that Philae also landed at 5:26 GMT and 5:33 GMT, bouncing off the surface due to the comet's weak gravity around 10,000ths of that of Earth. The initial bounce, almost 2 hours long, could have sent Philae flying as high as 1 kilometer above the comet's surface. It has also left the probe in a precarious position. Although Philae is now stable and sitting on the surface, a fault with its harpoons means it is not firmly attached to the comet. It may also be angled in such a way that it reduces the amount of sunlight that can reach its solar panels, and this could limit its battery to only a few days and not the 1 year as planned. The problems mean ESET managers have ruled out the planned drilling into the surface, as it could disrupt the probe since it doesn't have a proper anchor. But the data collection issues they were experiencing have now been solved, allowing them to grab images from the probe. Good luck. And back on Earth, it's attractive to killers' noses and vampires, but it hardly rolls off the tongue. Trans-4,5-epoxy E2-decenol has been identified as the chemical that gives blood its distinctive odor. Carnivores are mad for it. It was isolated by Matthias Laska at Linköping University in Sweden and his colleagues. They were helped by odor experts who sniffed the compounds in blood that can evaporate one by one in a search for the substance that most typifies blood. The aldehyde, which gives blood in meat its faintly metallic color, or odor should I say, forms when animal fat breaks down, and Laska believes it is likely to be present in all mammal blood. Laska's team found that when the compound was smeared on wood, Siberian tigers and 3 species of wild dog at the nearby Kolmarden Wildlife Park found it just as attractive as the meat they were usually fed with. Unsurprisingly, the carnivorous animals showed virtually no interest in wood smeared with a substance that smells like bananas. Well, who wouldn't? The compound was as interesting to all 4 species as the odor of real blood, says Laska. In fact, African wild dogs were even more interested in the substance than they were in the real horse blood. But they're going to starve. And still on Earth, cyborg cockroaches may be the search and rescue teams of the future. The enhanced roaches can pinpoint the source of noise using electrical pulses delivered to their antenna and then crawl towards it. The cyborg roaches are the work of Alper Boskirk and his team at North Carolina State University in Raleigh. They have built 2 types of audio sensing backpacks that can be strapped to the Madagascar hissing cockroaches. One has a single high-resolution microphone that can identify sound sources fairly accurately. The other has 3 microphone array that gets a precise fix on the source using the amplitude information from each microphone. Using a computer to integrate the data from a network of 10 to 15 insects, the cockroaches are then guided towards the sound source via automated electrical pulses to their antenna. The nerve stimulation causes the insects to turn left or right, essentially by stimulating contact with obstacles and simulating contact by obstacles in front of them. Boskirk presented the work at a conference in Spain last week. Hacking cockroaches like this is nothing new. Boskirk and his group have been working with them for the last 5 years, and last year a Kickstarter project made robo-roaches commercially available for the very first time. But Boskirk's newest project moves the field into more practical applications. His team hopes the cyborg cockroaches may be used to find disaster victims, for example, people buried under rubble in the aftermath of an earthquake. Cockroaches as a platform are certainly better in terms of performance than anything we currently have been able to build, and will remain true for many years, since Shay Resvin at the University of Michigan. But one of the problems with these approaches is that they work well in the lab where there are no distractions, but are much more tricky to apply when reliably in real-world environments. That's why the next stage of Boskirk's research is to take the insects out of the lab, though not to a terrain as complex as a dense pile of rubble as yet. Once the lab phase is complete, his team plans to use cyborg roaches equipped with Geiger counters to search for leaks in nuclear power plants. Can you say we have a bug? There are a number of applications where we can get insect bot sensors out into the field to collect useful information, says Boskirk. But in the next 5 or 6 years, we think this project will be ready to be fully deployed under the rubble. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News.
Here we are in front of American Legion Post 108 in Oxford. Now, every Friday between 12 and 8:30, they serve up some of the best fish in Michigan. Follow me inside. We're going to take a look around the post. All right, here we are now on the Hull side of the post, where you can get tables for anywhere to 6 to 30 people. And before or after you're done eating, take a walk around and browse through the second largest military museum in the state of Michigan. All right, now we're over on the restaurant side of the post where most of the fun happens, as you can see behind me. They've got darts, pool tables, 50-50 raffles, and any kind of fish you can think of, baked cod, walleye, combo plates, all right here at your beck and call.
You're watching OCTV.